What are you doing here now? It's too late. Don't ever come back, you incompetent fool.
Henry's words, as the director's son and an elite doctor, are absolute in this hospital.
If I had been able to attend the meeting, my statements could have quelled the embezzlement accusations against Henry. Still, I raised an objection. Did you expect me to attend while ignoring a woman who had an accident? If you think my actions were wrong,
I can't continue working at this hospital. A little away from the conference room, Megan was standing with a remorseful look on her face.
I'm really sorry. It's all my fault. It's okay. I'll just find another job. I escorted Megan to the hospital parking lot.
Right then, about 20 luxury cars started pulling into the lot one after another.
Tyler, do you have some time now? There's a place I'd like you to accompany me to. My name is Tyler. I'm a male nurse turning 40 this year. I've been working at Smith General Hospital for nearly 20 years and am recognized as a seasoned veteran.
There's another clerk named Mr. Williams, so people often call me by my first name, Tyler.
The job is tough, but I find it very rewarding and enjoy interacting with the patients.
When they express their gratitude to me, it really boosts my motivation. On the surface, my days might seem fulfilling, but I do have concerns. I still feel young at heart, but talking about age sometimes makes me a bit gloomy. My main concern is that I'm turning 40 and still single with no romantic prospects.
Working in a predominantly female environment, I can't use lack of opportunities as an excuse. Among the female nurses, my presence is seen as. Tyler lacks a certain masculine aura. I've never thought of him as a man. That's right.
He blends in with us women too much. But as a coworker, he's fantastic.
That's how it went.
They sound like compliments, but they're not at all.
In short, I lack appeal as a man.
Surely, you can't work as a nurse exuding pheromones all the time.
Now that I'm nearing 40, I'm also worried about my receding hairline.
I have a muscular build and think my body is okay, but my thinning hair often makes me look over 40, which is quite shocking. I guess women prefer young, handsome guys.
Who'd want to date a balding 40-year-old?
I complain to myself, but it doesn't change anything.
To maintain at least my physique, I diligently go to the gym. So here I am, still living with my mother, who raised me alone.
At Smith General Hospital, the director, John Smith, is the second-generation head.
Because it's a family-run business, if any member of the Smith family is displeased, our positions are at risk.
John's son, Henry, is a 35-year-old elite surgeon. With his future as the director guaranteed, he always struts around the hospital like he owns the place. According to a clerk who has known Henry since childhood, he was always a cheeky kid even to adults.
If Henry gives an order, no matter how unreasonable, doctors and nurses must obey.
The best way to avoid trouble is to keep a low profile and live quietly. That day, I was measuring the blood pressure of Jessica, a woman in her 70s who had been admitted 2 days ago. Jessica was a cheerful and talkative person, and her presence instantly brightened the room. I love people like Jessica, who can light up the atmosphere just by being there.
I couldn't help but join in the patient's gossip. Jessica, why were you admitted? You seem so healthy. What are you talking about? 2 days ago, I almost kicked the bucket.
I've sworn off beefsteak for life.
Jessica, it's not the beefsteak that's the problem.
Please don't eat food past its expiration date just because you live alone.
Okay, I got it. The doctor scolded me, saying, how many times has this happened? Oh, by the way. Do you know there's a strange rumor about the young doctor here?
The young doctor probably refers to Henry.
What's going on with Dr. Smith? A neighbor who was recently discharged said they were forced to give a gift. Aren't doctors not supposed to accept such things? That was an unsettling story.
Gifts and gratuities are a common topic at any hospital. Some doctors accept such under-the-table gifts, while others staunchly refuse them.
However, it's a problem if patients are coerced into giving money or goods. As I came to this point in my thoughts, I snapped back to reality. It's best not to do anything that would draw Henry's attention. Acting on a sense of justice might cost me my job. I replied vaguely, is that so? And did not pursue the topic further. A few days later, I was on night duty, patrolling the dark corridors.
I saw someone sneaking out of the director's office. I pointed my flashlight and shouted, "Who's there?"
To my surprise, it was Henry. "Oh, Tyler, you're on night duty? Thanks for your hard work. What are you doing here at this hour? And in the director's office? I just forgot something and came back to get it. I'll be heading home now. Keep up the good work."
He said this and hurried down the corridor.
The next day, I was called by the head nurse, Anna. "Tyler, you were on night duty last night, right? Did you see anything unusual? Like someone coming out of the director's office?" I replied casually.
"Oh, yes, I saw Henry coming out of the director's office."
I knew it. I had a feeling something was off.
There's a rumor that Henry is embezzling funds.
This morning, accounting reported discrepancies in the finances.
Despite my efforts to avoid Henry, I had stumbled into trouble.
That afternoon, I was summoned to Henry's office. "What can I do for you?"
Henry sat at his desk, grinning, and handed me a thick envelope. "There's $2,000 in here.
Change your testimony for me, will you?" At first, I didn't understand. Testimony. Oh. You mean about seeing you outside the director's office last night? Yes. There's a meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. You'll be asked to attend. I want you to say you were mistaken and didn't see me. Is $2,000 not enough? I was caught up in something unpleasant.
I wanted to escape, but that wasn't an option.
Do you think saying it was a mistake will suffice?
You could say you saw someone else or that you were sleepy and dreaming.
Just make sure I don't get implicated.
So, I need to play dumb.
Getting more involved could be disastrous. All right, I'll testify that way.
But I don't need the $2,000.
Fine, if you don't want it.
Just make sure you testify correctly.
I nodded and silently left Henry's office.
Just as Henry said, Anna called me that afternoon and told me to attend the meeting at 2 p.m. the next day. At that time, I had no intention of acting on my sense of justice or betraying Henry.
The day of the meeting arrived. I wasn't on shift that day, so I only needed to be at the hospital by 2 p.m. Since my place isn't far from the hospital, I usually walk for about 30 minutes for my health.
That day, I was walking to the hospital with a heavy heart. Suddenly, a red car sped past me, swerved, and crashed into a utility pole.
The bumper flew off, and I saw the airbags deploy. Oh no! This is bad.
I looked around, but no one else was there.
I rushed over to the car. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?"
The driver was a woman with long hair, conscious but in shock. I prioritized getting her out of the car and opened the unlocked door.
"Here, grab on. Let's get away from the car."
She extended her arm, and I carefully helped her out and guided her to the side of the road. I gently seated her on the sidewalk on the opposite side of the car.
"Are you all right? Any injuries? Let me check your pulse."
I took her wrist and checked her pulse with practiced ease.
"It's stabilizing. Do you have a headache or blurred vision?"
She shook her head slightly.
"I couldn't sleep at all last night. I shouldn't have been driving while sleep deprived, right?"
I could only smile wryly and say, "Well, everyone has their reasons, but it's best to avoid it."
Though she seemed uninjured, she was clearly in shock. That was terrifying. "It's my first accident. I should call the police, right?"
"Yes,
that's right."
Fortunately, no one else was involved, so there's not too much to worry about.
She looked at me anxiously and asked, "Will you stay with me?" I nodded.
As she dialed 911, I realized she looked familiar. "The police will be here in about 10 minutes.
By the way, I'm Megan. I'm usually a model for Paris Fashion Week.
Driving here is so different from back in France, the speeds, the spacing, it's all different."
"Sorry, I guess that's just an excuse."
A model for Paris Fashion Week, someone I'd never expect to meet.
"You work as a model overseas. That's amazing. I think I've seen you somewhere before." Megan blushed slightly and smiled at me. "I appear in ice cream commercials in the States. Maybe that's where you've seen me." "Yes. The ice cream commercials. They're so memorable." "Is that really you?" I got excited, my voice cracking a bit. Seeing my reaction, Megan seemed to finally calm down and smiled slightly. I'm not wearing any makeup, so it's hard to recognize me.
And causing such an accident is so embarrassing. I had always thought she was incredibly beautiful in those commercials with her mysterious aura.
No, you look beautiful even without makeup. I'm Tyler. I work as a nurse at Smith General Hospital just down the road.
Megan, now fully calm, handled the police well when they arrived.
I gave my statement as a witness. After the car was towed away and everything was settled, I checked my watch. It was already 3 p.m. Looking at my phone, I saw multiple missed calls from Henry right up until just before 2 p.m. I hadn't noticed them because my phone was on silent mode.
I hurriedly called back, but his phone was off, likely still in the meeting.
What should I do? Can I still make it to the meeting? I'm so sorry. You had an important meeting, didn't you? I'll testify that it wasn't your fault. Let's head to the hospital now. I thanked her sincerely.
And we hurried to the hospital. When we arrived, the conference room door opened, and the doctors started filing out. I spotted a doctor I was friendly with and quietly asked,
"Is the meeting over?" "Yes. Without your testimony, Henry got a 3-month salary reduction. You could say he got off lightly. And you were fired for not attending the meeting."
As I stood there in shock, Henry was the last to leave the conference room. When he saw me, he glared with an intense expression.
"What are you doing here now? It's too late. Don't ever come back, you incompetent fool."
Henry's words, as the director's son and an elite doctor, were absolute in this hospital. I should have made it by 2 p.m., but I came across a woman who had an accident and got delayed giving a statement.
If I had attended the meeting, my testimony could have cleared the embezzlement accusations against Henry. I don't want to see your face. Get out. Was it really necessary to attend while leaving the woman who had the accident unattended? If you say my actions were wrong, then I cannot work at this hospital.
Megan was waiting near the conference room.
But now, her explanation wouldn't change anything.
"I'll quit this place on my own terms," I said. "Thank you for everything," then turned and walked toward the exit. Outside the conference room, Megan stood with a regretful expression.
"I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. It's okay. I'll just find another job. Sorry for involving you. Did you have plans? Should I call a cab?" "No, I called someone to pick me up." "Tyler, could you walk with me to the parking lot?" I walked beside Megan to the hospital parking lot.
Suddenly, several black luxury cars started arriving.
1, 2, 3, 4. How many are there? I counted and saw a total of 20 luxury cars pulling into the parking lot. What is this? Does it take this many cars to pick up a model? Megan looked puzzled. For shoots, photographers and staff travel in separate cars.
It's normal for 10 cars to show up.
Oh, I see. That's how it is. I thought, realizing Megan's world was entirely different from mine. Tyler, do you have time? There's somewhere I'd like you to go with me. Sure, I guess. I wasn't planning to job hunt today anyway. Megan smiled brightly and said, "Thank you."
A man who got out of one of the cars had a powerful physique, but what surprised me most was that he was wearing a black tuxedo. "Please hurry, it's about to start."
Got it. Megan got into one car.
When I was about to follow, a burly man pointed me to another car, saying, "You go that way."
Once inside, the car started smoothly.
The interior was surprisingly spacious. "Please change into this," he said, handing me a black tuxedo like his.
I was reluctant, but realized blending in would help me not stand out. As I finished changing, I noticed the outside noise growing.
Traffic was controlled, and the car moved according to the instructions of the security guards outside. Eventually, the car stopped, and the door opened. Outside, Megan, in a gorgeous crimson dress, stood smiling.
She took my hand. "We're filming a commercial. I'm walking the red carpet at an event in New York. When I told them about you, they thought it would be interesting for you to join. Is that okay?" "What? Me in a commercial? No way. I'll ruin it.
Then a short man, presumably the director, appeared beside Megan.
Don't worry, don't worry. We'll only film you from behind. You're in good shape. We initially planned for you to be an extra. But now I'd like you to escort Megan. I felt so embarrassed that I wanted to cry. Please, give me a break. I won't be able to watch TV ever again. We'll just show a glimpse of your back.
Please, the male model we had scheduled got sick and can't make it.
Please, Tyler.
We'll make sure no one recognizes you.
Just help us out. I thought it over for a moment. Commercials are only a few seconds long anyway. If only my back is shown, hardly anyone would recognize me unless they know me very well. More importantly, if I could help Megan, I wanted to. All right, I'll do it.
What followed was a series of firsts for me. We shot the same scene repeatedly with multiple cameras. Each cut was reviewed with Megan, and they promised to use only the ones I approved. Every time the director called action, Megan would hold my hand firmly and walk the red carpet with me as if we were a couple. Even though it was just a series of small actions, fulfilling the director's requests was exhausting. When the shoot was finally over, the director presented Megan with a bouquet of roses.
Megan handed the bouquet to me. Tyler, thank you so much for today. I don't want this to be the last time we meet, so can we exchange phone numbers? She's not just a pretty face. She's a model representing America at Paris Fashion Week.
We exchanged numbers and registered each other on WhatsApp. When I got home with the bouquet, my mother was shocked.
A friend gave it to me. She didn't ask for details and quietly put the bouquet in a vase. The next morning, with nothing else to do, I watched TV. Maybe because I was thinking about it, Megan's ice cream commercial kept airing. I wondered when the commercial we shot yesterday would start airing. It was just 30 seconds, but for that brief time, I got to be Megan's boyfriend. Those few hours, like a bubble that popped in my otherwise quiet life, were unforgettable. As I sorted through a stack of newspapers on the table, I found an ad. Megan smiled mysteriously in the ad. My mother suddenly peeked over my shoulder. She's beautiful, isn't she? Isn't she the model who's making a name for herself in Paris? You know her, Mom? I saw her in a documentary. She didn't grow up in a privileged environment but succeeded through sheer determination.
Her eyes were so lively, that's why I remember her. I bet she went through a lot that wasn't covered in the documentary.
As a fellow American, I hope she continues to do well.
I nodded in agreement with my mother's words.
Around 11 a.m., Megan called. Good morning, Tyler. Thank you so much for yesterday.
The commercial won't air for a while, but please look forward to it.
Thank you, too.
I was grateful to experience such a glamorous world. I was deeply moved by the hard work behind the beautiful scenes.
Thank you, Tyler. I'm glad to hear that from you.
Meeting you and creating such memorable footage made yesterday special.
A special day, indeed. It's okay to have a dreamlike day once in a while. Megan will return to her glamorous life in Paris. Eventually, she will probably forget about me. I need to focus on finding a new job at another hospital. As I was thinking this, Megan said, to celebrate our special day, how about we have dinner together sometime? What kind of food do you like, Tyler?
I was genuinely surprised.
What? You want to meet again?
Megan, I'm turning 40 this year.
I'm just an old guy. Oh, that's a wonderful age. Aren't men in their 40s at their prime as a man? So, Tyler, are you going to turn down an invitation from a Paris Fashion Week model?
So, 3 nights later, I found myself having dinner with Megan at a high-end restaurant.
That afternoon, I received a call from Henry on my phone. I thought about ignoring it but decided to answer, thinking it would be the last time. When did you get to know Megan?
My friend saw you with her during some shoot.
It's true, the shoot had blocked off a major road downtown, and many onlookers had seen us. Introduce me to Megan. I've been a fan of hers for a long time.
I listened to Henry's ranting with a sense of detachment.
Because of him, I lost my job. This was the perfect chance for some payback. Oh, you're a fan. But I can't introduce you to her. Why not? If it's about you getting fired, I'll talk to my dad and fix it.
I don't think someone like you deserves a wonderful woman like Megan."
What the hell did you just say?
"Remember, I was the one who kept quiet about seeing you come out of the director's office that night."
I know you're the one embezzling funds. I can't introduce someone like you to Megan. With that, I hung up.
I felt incredibly satisfied.
Now, what should I wear for my date in 3 days?
I called a fashion-savvy friend for advice. He spent a day taking me to various boutiques, finding the perfect outfit for the date.
Finally, we need to fix your hair.
Your wide forehead stands out.
Let's talk to a stylist and make you a stylish gentleman.
I usually just got quick haircuts at a barbershop, so I was hesitant about going to a trendy salon.
But, knowing I was going on a date with a Paris Fashion Week model, I endured it.
You can't hide it, so let's go with a very short cut close to a buzz cut. It won't make your forehead noticeable.
Don't worry.
I'll cut it just right. When I got home after the makeover, my mother didn't recognize me at first. The date 3 days later was a huge success. The food was exquisite, and Megan was all smiles. Wanting to thank her, I splurged on a famous brand pendant and gave it to her.
Megan was thrilled. Thank you, Tyler. This pendant is lovely. Could you put it on me?
Nervously, I went behind her and fastened the clasp. Her perfume made me dizzy.
As we talked, I learned more about Megan's life.
She preferred older men, but her relationships often didn't work out.
All the men I like are usually already married. She often fell for men in their late 30s to 40s, leading to frequent heartbreak.
At 40, I was her ideal age. When I first saw you, it felt like a prince had come to save me.
I was both surprised and embarrassed. No woman had ever looked at me that way before. I'd like you to invite me out next time. Feeling like I was in a dream, we left the restaurant and walked through the night city, parting ways at a taxi stand. 4 days later, Megan called me.
I'm planning to make America my base. I'll still go to Paris, but I'm giving up my apartment there.
I want to be with you more. Don't sacrifice your career just to be with me. It's not right, Megan. To achieve my true dream, I need you. What's your true dream? I'm a 28-year-old woman. Do I have to spell it out?
I was at a loss for words. Soon, rumors spread about Megan having a handsome, bald boyfriend.
I received several interview requests, surprising my mother and making me bolder.
I began to realize that Megan was indeed my girlfriend.
As we went on more dates, I discovered that Megan had a fairly down-to-earth side. On our first date, she said she still had her guard up and couldn't completely relax.
Since I wasn't wealthy, we often had inexpensive dates, like going for barbecue or visiting antique markets. When my birthday came, Megan gave me a gift, and I was able to accept it gratefully.
The wrapping paper and box looked familiar.
When I opened it, I found it was the same pendant with an M that I had given Megan, but this one had a T on it.
Thank you, Megan.
I'll treasure it.
I have an idea. I'll give you my pendant, and you give me your T. That way, we can always feel connected to each other. That's a great idea. Let's do that. It felt like a sacred ritual. Megan placed the pendant around my neck, and I put the T pendant around hers.
I was now accustomed to her perfume, and its pleasant scent remained the same. I wondered what our lives would be like by my next birthday.
After being fired from Smith General Hospital, I found a job at a new clinic.
It was Megan's regular clinic, frequented by many celebrities incognito. Soon, those celebrities began referring to me as Megan's boyfriend. I started working at a clinic with a luxurious atmosphere and beautifully clean interiors, and I can see myself becoming more refined.
I also find the tasks I'm entrusted with to be very rewarding. As for Smith General Hospital,
I was able to hear about its current state from a former colleague who still works there.
Henry continued his embezzling, causing headaches for the accounting department. I should follow Tyler's example and leave. That hospital has no future. It's big, but if something happens to the director, Henry will take over. And the hospital will quickly go downhill. Soon after, my colleague left for another hospital.
Then Henry made a bigger mistake.
A medical error.
He accidentally instructed that the wrong medication be added to a city councilman's 4-drip. The city council member was in critical condition for a while.
The blame quickly fell on Henry, causing a scandal. The councilman sued, and the hospital had to pay a hefty settlement, leading to its bankruptcy. The doctors and nurses who worked there were able to transfer safely to other hospitals, but no hospital was willing to hire Henry, who had committed a medical error. He now lives quietly in the same mansion as his father. A year later, Meghan held a press conference with fashion magazine journalists to announce our marriage. Of course, I was her fiancé. Meghan drew a portrait of me and showed it to the cameras. Most of the reporters already knew my face, and they laughed, saying it didn't look much like me. We had a small wedding in Hawaii, inviting only close friends and family. It was my mother's first trip on the plane, and I think it made her happy. Even though Meghan is a top model, making our marriage somewhat of a mismatch, I am proud of who I am. I will continue to work hard, supporting Meghan so she can enjoy her career to the fullest.